Yo guys, this is Timebreaker Saiyan here and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing What If Goku Black Was in Fairy Tale. Let's begin. Chapter 4 Gods, Dragons, and Angels. Black began to stir as he woke up in the infirmary. He sat up and saw that he was lying in bed with his top removed. His body was bandaged and his sounds were treated. He looked over to his left and saw that his missing toe was restored and folded neatly on the dresser along with his patara and time ring. Where am I? He wondered till he started to recall what happened to him. I remember now, this is the house of those maidens and their cat. I was most likely brought here after I completed that job. Black then smirked as he remembered the destruction of Blue Skull by his hands. Ah yes, it felt so good ridding this world of that miserable guild, just like old times. Just a preview of what awaits this world once I fully recover. He then got up from the medical bed and threw a punch. That move released a small energy wave which seemed to please the Kai. I can feel it, my power has increased again. It's going to take time, but I'll get there eventually. My return is inevitable. He then looked down at his hands and clenched his fists. He started taking a fighting stance and performed moves with shades of Goku washing over him. Looks I'll need to practice Goku's fighting style again. This body is dying to get back in shape. Hey, which is fine by me. He then walked out of the infirmary, making his way into the dining room. Seconds after he had entered, he was tackled to the ground by two blurs. When Black looked to see his attackers, he was surprised to find that it was Emily and Gwen who were hugging him tightly. What is the meaning of this? Black inquired. Release me at once, mortals. The girls ignored his order and kept their hold on him. We were so worried about you after you passed out. You really got hurt, we weren't sure if you'd wake up. Emily said, of course, I would wake. I am a god. It'll take more than an attack like that to kill me. Black stated. Both Emily and Gwen got a little teary-eyed as they rested on Black's chest. We're glad you're all right, Black, Gwen said. Why won't they release me? And what is this emotion of worry they express? Black thought as he tried to pry them off. Why does it fill me with guilt? Well, look who's finally awake, Kayla said as she walked in with Neb on her shoulder. You've been out for a while, how long? Black asked as the girls let him go. A few days, Kayla answered. The girls reported to the mayor that you destroyed Blue Skull, completing your job. He'll be here shortly to see if you've awakened. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Looks like he's here. The Kai immediately went over to the door and opened it. The mayor was a little surprised when he saw Black at the door, but it passed and he started shaking the Kai's hand rapidly. Thank you so much, he said gratefully. That guild has been a thorn in our side for so long. Once the town heard of its defeat at your hand, we all rejoiced at our new freedom. The mayor called his butler over who was carrying a bag of money. As promised, here's the reward for completing the job. The butler held it out and although he was confused by this, Black still accepted the money. You have done our town a great service, Sir Black. As mayor, I'll personally make sure that you're remembered as our hero. The mayor and his butler left and Black went back inside the house. Way to go, Black, Emily said to him, who just scoffed. You were amazing out there. Neb said, I didn't think you'd be so strong. Gwen said, I am a god. My power is far beyond any mortal's comprehension. Black replied, anyhow, the town's throwing a party to celebrate our liberation. We ought to get over there to join them. Kayla said. All right, party time. Emily and Neb cheered. The three then headed towards the door to enter town when they noticed the Supreme Kai wasn't following them. Hey Black, you coming? Emily asked. Please, as if I'd ever partake in such foolishness, Black said. Since my job is complete, that means I have no more business here and that I must leave. Going already? Kayla asked. At least stay a little longer. I have important matters to address and I don't want to waste a moment, Black said as he walked to leave. His hand was then grabbed by Gwen's, which surprised him. What is it, girl? I know you're in a hurry to go, but you're still recovering from your fight. At least wait for another day till you've rested enough, she suggested. I get that you're a god and all, but even gods need rest, don't they? No, they don't. Gods are too powerful to desire the need for rest, although the destroyer gods do sleep for some reason, Black stated. Very well, I shall rest a little longer before returning to Fairy Tale. But I will not accompany you to this celebration. Ah, come on, Black, it's all for you anyway. Emily said, I could care less. I have no interest in this kind of thing, Black said. The family shrugged. Okay then, you know where to find us if you change your mind. Kayla said. The four then left the house, leaving the Supreme Kai alone. Black started to meditate. As he did, he saw something inside him. A bit of energy similar to the spirit sword Trunks impaled him with. What is this? What does it mean? Black thought. Is this the reason my powers are diminished? He reached out to touch it but was shocked by it, snapping him back to reality. He then heard the loud noises coming from the village. What are those mortals doing? He asked before leaving the house and flying into town. He appeared over the celebrating village and saw people having a great time. They danced, sang, drank, ate, and played around with each other. Black simply shook his head disapprovingly. How can they celebrate? All I did was rid the world of simple pests. Their lives have not improved at all as far as I'm concerned. He muttered. They have no idea the horrors that await them once I have regained my strength. He then spotted Gwen and Kayla performing a dance for the villagers while Emily and Neb were being carried by the crowd. I will never understand these mortals. Black deduced before leaving. Hours later, the family finally returned home after the party ended. The girls and Neb went to bed while Kayla went to Black's room. What is it, woman? He asked. Can I talk to you for a minute? Over a meal, maybe? She offered. Black raised an eyebrow but nodded as he was curious about what she wanted to ask him. The two were soon sitting at the dining table with a plate of food in front of them. All right, mortal, what do you want to talk about? Black inquired as he ate. First, did you really have to kill those Blue Skull members? Kayla asked. Couldn't you have completed the job another way? Are you questioning how I do things? Black said. I have learned that killing is just as a necessity to humans as eating, sleeping, and other things. They wish to kill me and I wish to kill them. The question was who would succeed. It's kill or be killed. I believe that is the human term. Besides, I'm a god. I have a right to sentence whoever I want to death or any punishment for the sins they've committed. I'm not condoning what you did. In fact, I'm pretty sure the village doesn't mind their deaths. Most were wishing Blue Skull would just die anyway. Kayla said. I'm just worried how my daughters will perceive this. They saw people die today. I'm not sure how they'll handle that. They seemed pretty fine to me, Black said. Guess they don't mind seeing a few deaths or even causing them. I doubt that, but only time will tell, Kayla said. Is that all you wanted? Black asked, Are you really headed back to Fairy Tale tomorrow? The mother asked. Black nodded. They are strong wizards there. I wish to test my strength against them. He replied. Why do you ask? Kayla then sighed and replied, Because. I want you to take my daughters with you to Fairy Tale. Black stared at her and saw that she was serious about her request. And why would you want that? I seem to recall you saying that your daughters would never be ready to use magic. Why change your opinion? He asked. Because of you, she answered, confusing Black. I always assumed my girls would never pull off anything big as long as they couldn't handle their magic. But today they assisted you in your job to take down Blue Skull. I did not require their assistance, Black said. I know, but they still tried to help, Kayla said. Neb told me what happened, and that their magic, though came out emotionally, was more calm and controlled than they've ever managed before, and that's because they look up to you. It made me realize that I can't keep hindering them. They have magic and must master it somehow. If they are to do that, they need to find their own path, and I believe going with you to Fairy Tale is meant to be the start of that path. Is that so? Black asked. Yes, Kayla said. I'm confident that in their road to learn to master their magic they'll be much safer with you than hiding here at home. You'd really put your faith and trust in the hands of a stranger you just met, mortal? Black questioned. I know they haven't known you for long, but I can see that they admire you, Black. They haven't known that many strong guys and they've become attached to you. Kayla said. It may seem foolish to a god, but it's what humans do. We'd rather trust others than not. An unwise decision, Black commented. Maybe so, but it's what makes us mortals. It does pay off at times. Kayla said. So, will you do it? Black thought for a moment. Truth be told, he had no interest in the girls and especially didn't want to take them on his journey. However, he was curious about their magic. It reminded him of the powers in his own universe and he wanted to understand them better. The Kai nodded and said, "Very well, I will grant your request, mortal woman. I'll bring them to Fairy Tale." Kayla smiled and bowed her head. "Thank you, Black," she said. The Kai had finished eating and got up to leave. As he reached for the door, it suddenly fell forward with Emily, Gwen, and Neb collapsing onto it from leaning against it. The three smiled innocently while Black just rolled his eyes and said, "Pack your things, we embark tomorrow." "Does that mean?" Emily asked. "We're going to Fairy Tale," Black replied. "Really, Mom?" Gwen asked. Kayla nodded. "Yes, only under these conditions," she said sternly. 1. You'll make plenty of good friends there. 2. You'll practice your magic so you can improve. 3. Always stick together. And 4. The girls gulped as they awaited the final instruction. "You will stay by Black's side." The Kai raised an eyebrow at this. "He may be a bit gruff and antisocial, but I believe you'd be better off if you stayed with him." "HMPH," was all Black said. "Yes." The girls and Neb cheered. "Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much." The girls and Kat embraced their mother in gratitude. Black just rolled his eyes at their display of affection and left to be alone. The next morning, the sisters, Kayla and Neb, met up with the Supreme Kai at the front of their house. The girls hugged their mother goodbye with tears in their eyes. "So this is it, huh, Mom? We're finally leaving to join a guild," Gwen said. "Can't believe it's finally happening, after so long," Emily said. "Even though I've objected to this in the past, I always knew this day would come for you too," Kayla admitted. "Never forget I'll always be with you three and I'll always love you." "We love you too, Mom," the sister said. "Remember to look after each other and always practice your magic. I expect you to be fully fledged wizards when I see you again," Kayla instructed. "Yes, Mom, we will." The girls complied. "And stay with Black. You'll need him, and even if he doesn't know it, he'll need you too," Kayla said. "Please, as if I'd ever need a mortal for anything," Black thought. "Don't worry, Mom. We'll be all right." Gwen assured. "Yeah, we've got Oni-chan," Emily purred. Black raised an eyebrow. "Oni-chan? I'm really gonna miss the both of you," Kayla said. "We'll miss you too, Mom," the sisters said. "But we'll be back before you know it." Kayla released her daughters and hugged Neb. "I gonna miss you too, Kitty," she said while petting him. "I'll miss you too, Mommy K," the Exceed said. She then let the flying cat go and went over to the Supreme Kai. "I'm not sure why, but I feel confident that they'll be safe in your care," Kayla said. "What makes you think he'll even care a bit about your daughters?" Black inquired. "You may not know this, but there's a small bit of light underneath all that darkness inside you," Kayla said. "So I know they'll be safe with you. Please promise me that you'll watch over them. That way I'll know that I'll see them again." Black didn't reply, he just nodded. The daughters said their final goodbye to their mother before heading off with the Saiyan imposter. The four came to the train station and waited. Then the conductor gave one last call. "Attention, last call for train boarding to Magnolia, last call." They quickly got onto the train and took their seats. As the quad had taken their seats aboard and was riding the train back to Magnolia, Black then noticed that in the seat across from him, Emily, who had said she was a dragon slayer, wasn't getting motion sick, so he decided to inquire. "Dragon slayer?" "Yes, Black," Emily said as she and her sister and Neb ate. "I thought your kind was supposed to get sick while on vehicles?" "So why aren't you?" he asked. "I'm not sure. I've never had a problem with transportation before. Maybe I'm not a full dragon slayer yet or something," Emily replied. "Well, you haven't used your magic very often. Maybe you just need training," Neb said. "Are there other dragon slayers in Fairy Tale?" Gwen asked Black. "Just one that I know of." "Are either of you familiar with the famed wizard called Salamander?" Black asked. "Salamander? As the wizard who uses fire magic you can't even buy at stores?" The girls asked gleefully. Black nods. "His name's Natsu Dragneel. He's a fire dragon slayer. Is he strong?" Neb asked. "Somewhat, for a mortal that is," Black answered. "I heard Salamander is one of Fairy Tale's most destructive wizards," Gwen stated. "I doubt a mortal like him is capable of causing any real kind of destruction," Black said. "Is he good looking?" Emily inquired. "As if I would notice, those are mortal standards. All I know is that he's a fire dragon slayer," Black said before addressing Emily. "What dragon are you again?" "Galaxy Dragon Slayer," Emily replied. "What type of element do you use?" Black asked. "I'm entirely sure of that. Anything. Celestial, I guess." Emily answered. The Kai raised an eyebrow before moving on to the little sister. What magic do you use? He asked her. I use takeover magic. It allows me to enter my angel soul and use its powers, Gwen answered. Impossible. No mortal can access the powers of an angel. Black denied. It's true. I acquired this power years ago. Gwen explained with a bit of sadness. When I was a little girl, I came across a wounded angel. She was dying and I wanted to help her. She told me it was too late, so I offered to have her use my body as a vessel. I read about takeover magic and practiced it a few times. The angel said that if I used the spell, she would no longer exist on her own, that she would have to be a part of me, and that her powers would be mine to use. I suggested allowing her to take control of the body, but she refused. She said that if her powers had to go to anyone, she'd be happy that a pure-hearted human like me was the one to acquire them. So I absorbed her, and that's how I can use her abilities. It's what she wanted. Black seemed unsure about her story. I can't believe an angel would offer her powers to a human. He thought, then again, perhaps the angels of this universe are different from the ones in mine. He then looked back at Emily and asked, What about you? How do you get your magic power? A dragon lacrima was implanted inside me, Emily answered. Lacrima? What's that? Black inquired. It's a crystal with many magic properties, Neb explained. There are a lot in Earthland. Who in their right mind would plant a dragon crystal inside the body of a mortal girl? Black asked. I don't know, I'm not even sure how it happened, Emily said a little depressed. I have no memories of it at all, just woke up one day and discovered something different about myself. The doctors examined me and found it in my body, granting me dragon-slaying lacrimal magic. I don't know what purpose I got it for, but it was rumored that every 5 millennia the galaxy dragon would emerge and bless those who they deem worthy to use their power, and over time the blessed lacrimal will evolve and become one with the user's body, unlike other dragon slayer lacrimal. I guess I'll have to learn about it during that time. A few months after I got my magic, I found Neb's egg in the forest and rescued it before it could be eaten by Vulcans. I later hatched and out popped this cute little kitty cat. Emily then pulled her cat into a warm embrace. Cats don't hatch from eggs, are you trying to fool a god? Black asked. Believe it or not, I did, Neb said. Emily and Gwen have raised me ever since. I see, Black said. So Black, what are the mages of fairy tale like? Emily asked. They're just a bunch of rowdy children who enjoy beating each other into the dirt, Black asked. They like playing with each other and their magic, especially when it comes to roughhousing. They sound fun. Emily and Neb said. Do you think we'll fit in with them? Gwen asked nervously. Will they even accept us? Most likely, all mortals are the same to a god, Black said. He then looked out and saw that the sky had darkened. It's getting late and we won't be there till tomorrow. We should get some rest now. Good idea, Emily agreed. The Supreme Kai closed and leaned back, only to open them again when he felt pressure against his arms. He looked to see Emily resting against his right arm and Gwen against his left. What do you think you two are doing? He questioned. We're about to rest. Duh, Emily answered. I meant, why are you resting upon a god? Black asked again. Because we said we would always stick by your side. Emily teased as she wrapped her arms around Black's right arm and snuggled beside him. Her sister followed her lead and did the same to his left. Before Black could protest, the sisters shut their eyes, and before long they were fast asleep. Neb suddenly landed on the Kai's head and curled really comfy. You insolent furball! I demand you get off this body's head this instant. Black said, but the cat ignored him as it too fell asleep. He looked up at his hair to see Neb curled up and sleeping peacefully, then at Gwen and Emily, who were using both his arms as pillows. He had also noticed that both his arms had somehow sunk into their busts before sighing in irritation at the situation he was in, and then went to sleep as well. Inside his dream, he saw a blue-white light within a dark space. Is this my power? Can I get my full strength back? He thought as he reached out to grab it. As he did, a flash of light blinded him and the area around him changed. Next thing he knew, he saw a vision of boy Goku carrying a turtle on his back with Teen Bulma beside him. What is this? Why am I seeing this? He asked before he woke up and looked around to see he was still on the train with the sister and Neb. Moments later, the Kai saw that they were approaching their destination and got up. When the three were still asleep, Black shook his arms till the sister fell on the ground with a thud. "Hey," Emily asked as she got up. "What's the big idea, Oni-san? Wake up, we're here." The false Saiyan said, "Not cool, Black," Emily said before yawning and helping her sister up. "Take your flea bag back," Black said as he tilted his head, letting Neb slide down from it into Emily's arms. The train reached Magnolia Station and the three followed Goku Black to the Guildhall. Emily, Gwen, and Neb were in awe at seeing a town outside of Burke. Black just rolled his eyes at the trio acting like giddy kids on a sugar high. At the Guildhall, Mira Jane was waiting behind the bar for anyone to order something, feeling a bit bored. People just assumed it was due to the slow day, but the real reason was that Black had been gone ever since he'd left for his job and she already missed talking to him. "I don't know why I miss him so much, I barely know him. And yet I just do," she thought. Kana noticed the barmaid's boredom and decided to tease her. She leaned against the bar, getting Myra's attention. "So Mira, miss your boy toy yet?" she asked. "What are you talking about, Kana?" Mira inquired. "Don't play dumb, Mira, you know I'm talking Black," Kana replied. "I've seen the way you look at him. You've got a thing for that ruggish rogue." "I don't know what you're talking about," Mira denied as her face turned a bit red. "Black's not even a member of our guild, your lips say no, but your face says otherwise, girl," Kana said. "Black's just a friend. I'm just a little worried about how his job's going," Mira said. "If you say so, too bad, cuz he's quite the catch. Guess I'll have to have him all to myself," Kana said teasingly, but Mira just looked away. Just then, Loke dashed past the bar in distress and ran outside the guild hall. "What's up with him?" Then the doors to the guild opened up, revealing Black walking and holding the job poster in his hand and a bag of reward money in the other. Mira smiled upon his entry before she saw something behind him that made her apply a bit of pressure to the bar, cracking it. Emily was behind Black looking very excited, as was Neb in her arms, while Gwen hid behind Black looking a bit shy. "Wow! I can't believe we're here," Emily stated. "Yeah, this place is great," Neb said. Everyone looked at the newcomers with curiosity. "What's up with the girls behind Black?" "Don't know. Did he make some new friends on his job? Are they planning to join Fairy Tail? They sure are cute, huh?" Black paid no attention and just went over to Mira at the bar. "I have returned," he said before sitting down. "I would like some tea." "Welcome back, Black. How was the job?" Mira asked as she got his tea ready. "As I thought, it was no trouble for a god. Almost not worth my time," Black said. "My strength did increase a bit, but not much." "I see," Mira said as she poured him a cup. "Here's your tea." Black accepted and took a sip. "Hey Black, I want a rematch right now," Natsu yelled as he charged at the Kai. Black didn't even face him as he held out his hand, flicked Natsu in the forehead, and sent him reeling backward. "Do not disturb a god when he is trying to unwind mortal," Black warned as took another sip. Lucy came over to the Kai and asked, "So Black, who are your friends?" Black looked over to the sisters and their cat before signaling them to come over. Emily, Gwen, and Neb went over to the Supreme Kai, who just told them, "Introduce yourselves. I'm Emily Pendleton. Nice to meet all of you." Emily said, My name's Gwen Pendleton. I'm her sister," Gwen said timidly, "and I'm Neb Pendleton, her partner." The cat said, Happy flew over to Neb with a fish in his paws. "Hey Neb, I'm Happy. I'm partnered with Natsu, the pink-haired moron who's on the ground." Happy said, "Here, let's share this fish as a sign of our new friendship." "Okay," Neb agreed. "Nice to meet you girls, my name's Lucy." The celestial mage introduced herself to the girls. "I'm Mira Jane," Mira said to the girls. "So what brings you to Fairy Tail? We want to join your guild." Emily said, "We've heard a lot of stories about your guild and have always wanted to join. After we met Black and after he completed his job in our town, he brought us here. Is that so?" Mira asked. "Why yes," Gwen said. Natsu then came over to Emily and sniffed her. "You smell kinda familiar," he said. "Okay, that's not weird at all," Emily said. Lucy slapped Natsu upside the head. "Don't just go around smelling, girls." She yelled angrily. "Hey there, my name's Gray." The ice mage introduced himself. What happened to your clothes?" Gwen asked. "Ah crap." Gray said, "So, what magic do you guys use?" Lucy asked. "I use dragon-slaying magic," I'm the Galaxy Dragon Slayer. Emily answered proudly. The whole guild looked at her in surprise. Ah, what's wrong? You're a dragon slayer too? Natsu asked. Yeah, but I don't have much control over my magic yet, Emily replied. Well, I'm Natsu Dragneel, the fire dragon slayer. Natsu said, Oh, you're the infamous salamander, Emily said. Yep, Natsu said before asking. So who was your dragon? Do you know where it is now? Can I ask him a question? Ah, I don't have a dragon, Emily said. Huh? Then how can you use dragon slayer magic? Natsu asked. A dragon lacrima was implanted in me when I was little, Emily answered. That's how I got my magic. Sorry that I can't help you, that's fine. It's still nice to meet another dragon slayer. Let's be friends, okay? Natsu said. Sure, Emily said with a smile. So Gwen, what magic do you use? Mira asked the younger sister. Takeover magic, Gwen replied. Really, that's great, Mira said. What kind of soul? Angel soul, Gwen answered. How many? Mira asked. Just one for now, Gwen answered. I haven't used my magic that often either. That's okay. It's nice to meet you, and we'll gladly accept the three of you into our guild. Mira said. Really? Awesome. Emily said. Hooray. Neb cheered. Yay. Gwen said. As the three were celebrating, Black had finished his tea and got up. Thank you for the tea, he said to Mira before turning to leave. Black, where are you going? Mira asked. I no longer have any business here, so I'm leaving. The Kai replied. But I thought you were a part of this guild. Neb said. I told you I wasn't, and now that I've brought you here I don't intend to stay any longer. Black answered. Do you really have to go? Gwen asked. Yes. I have to regain my strength, and in order to do that I must fight strong opponents. Black explained. I've already fought the strongest here, Salamander, and bested him. Now I must leave in search of stronger opponents. The sisters seemed saddened by this before Emily said, Then I guess we've got to go with you. Why? I thought you girls wished to join this guild? Black inquired. We did, but we never would have gotten here if it wasn't for you, Emily said. We owe you a lot for bringing us here in the first place. I do not require you to repay any debt to me by sticking by my side, Black said. But we promised we would. Gwen argued. Before we left, we told our mother that we'd stick with you. We can't go back on that promise. As much as we want to join Fairy Tail, we won't stay if you're not going to be here with us, Oni-chan. Oni-chan? Black thought. The girls turned to the fairies and said, Thank you all for the warm welcome, but we have to stay with Black. Then got up to go beside him. Guess I'll see you around, my friend, Neb said to a sad Happy before joining them. The guild looked over at Black, who didn't move nor turn to face them. The Kai seemed unsure of what he was going to do now. He still wanted to leave to regain his might, but he had no desire to take the girls with him, nor did he want to join this rowdy guild. Before he could make a decision, Mira Jane came over to him and said, You don't have to leave if you want to find strong wizards to fight. Believe it or not, Natsu's not our strongest wizard. Hey! Don't tell him that. Natsu yelled. Is that so? Black inquired. I told you we had a few S-class wizards that are stronger than him, didn't I? Mira asked. Well, one of them is on her way back from her job. She should be here shortly. You're positive of this? Black asked, to which Mira nodded. And that she's stronger than Salamander? Most definitely. Most of them have beaten Natsu at least once, but she does it regularly. She's the strongest woman in our guild, and I speak from experience. Mira said. If you stick around, you'll get to meet all of our strongest wizards eventually. Black thought for a moment. It would make my recovery a lot easier if I didn't have to search for strong opponents. If they'll just come to me, maybe I can put up with these annoying mortals long enough till I'm fully powered again. Then, I can eradicate them instantly. The Kai smirked before answering, Very well, I shall stay a bit longer, but I still have no intention of joining your guild. All right. That means we can stick around and join, Emily said. The rest of the guild went over to the new trio and began to celebrate with them. Not wanting to get a headache, Black just went over to the bar and sat down before crossing his legs, closing his eyes, and began to meditate. The way Jiren does. After a few minutes of peace, his travel companions came over to him. Black, look. We got the marks, We're official guild wizards now. Emily cheered. Black opened one eye and saw that the trio had received their stamps. Emily's was blue on her forearm, Gwen's was silver on her right thigh, and Neb's was black on his belly. Good for you, I suppose, Black said before closing his eyes again. Now why don't you get familiar with your new friends while going back to meditating? Wait, we wanted to ask you for a few favors, Gwen said. You mortals actually have a request for a god? Guess something's never changed, Black said. At least hear us out first, Emily said. Fine. What do you desire of me? Black inquired. First, we want to be on a team with you, Emily said. Mira told us that lots of wizards here form a team in order to work together and handle jobs that are too difficult for single wizards. And what makes you think I need a team to perform any task? Black asked. Well, maybe you don't need anyone since you're a god, Emily stated with air quotes, which made Black scowl. But we're new here, so we shouldn't just start doing things on our own since we have no experience. And since we decided to stick by your side, we might as well form a team with you. I see, and what of your second request? Black asked. We want you to train us, please, Gwen replied. I'm sorry, but I think I misheard you, Black said. I said we want you to train us. Gwen repeated a little more confident. Black raised an eyebrow at this request before chuckling. You actually think a god would go out of their way to train you mortals? He questioned. I don't know, would they? Emily asked. Black was speechless at her answer as he recalled how the Kais and Supreme Kais sometimes trained mortals. Even the angels did it occasionally. Why would you want me to train you? Wouldn't it be better if one of your guildmates did it? Maybe, but as of right now none of them have seen our magic in action. Only you have, Gwen answered. Plus, you've probably seen something like our powers before. I can tell from your eyes that you've experienced a lot of fights, probably seen it all by now. Besides, who knows how strong we'll be if we're trained by a god? Emily added. This could probably make us the strongest wizards ever. How can you say no to that? While I have no interest in taking on students, I am curious about their magical abilities. Perhaps they could answer a few questions I have about this world. He thought before saying, Very well, I will grant both your requests. All right. So what's first, Oni-chan? Emily asked. First, I finish meditating. Then we'll get to training, Black replied. The trio left the Kai, who continued his session. After a while, he sensed something that got his attention. There's a strange energy signal steadily approaching this place. Its power surpasses everyone in this guild. Interesting. Suddenly the doors burst open and Loke came in looking very frightened. We've got trouble, he alerted everyone. It's Urza, she's almost here. This news made everyone aside from Black and his team terrified, even the quarreling Natsu and Gray. Who is this Urza? And do they fear her? Black thought, just mention her and the whole place freaks out. Lucy said, well, she is the strongest female wizard we've got and more than a bit intimidating. Mira explained. I hear she's known as Titania, the queen of the fairies. Emily, she sounds super scary, Neb said. Do you think she'll let us stay here? Gwen asked nervously. Sounds of loud steps and metal clanging were heard from the hall as a large shadow drew closer, making everyone exceedingly worried. That's gotta be here, Lackey said. Those definitely sound like her footsteps, Wakaba said. Even the air's gone completely still, Macau stated. Geez, you think from this kind of reaction that she was some kind of demon or something, Lucy now afraid. I'm so scared. Let's see this mighty Titania that everyone fears, Black thought as he glanced at the doorway. He spotted a 19-year-old woman with red hair, wearing knight-like armor, a blue skirt, and black combat boots, carrying a large horn with one hand. Is this her? The woman enters the guild hall and places her horn right on the ground. I have returned, she announced. Where is Master Makarov? Wow, she's pretty, Lucy said. Welcome back, Urza. The master's away at a conference right now, Mira answered. I see, Urza said. So, what's that humongous thing you got there? One of the guild members asked. It's the horn of a monster I defeated. The locals were so thankful they decorated it and gave it to me as a souvenir, she answered before sternly asking. Do you have a problem with it? No, not at all. Everyone answered. I bet she's heard about what happened at Mount Makabe. Kana muttered. You think so? Man, I'm a goner. Macau said worried. She's not anything like I imagined, Lucy said. Urza's face turned more serious as she spoke. Now listen up. While I was on the road, I heard a few things. Word is fairy tales caused nothing but trouble as of late. The master may not care, but I certainly do. This got everyone's attention as their queen began to address certain members. Kana, you need to start controlling your drinking. Vegeta, please take the dancing outside. Wakaba, get rid of that filthy habit. Nab, I suspected I'd find you battling at the request board, just pick a job. Macau. She only glanced at the fire mage and said nothing but just sighed. Please just say something. Macau said in fear, I don't even know where to begin with you. You've caused so much trouble I've almost given up. Urza stated tiredly, she's really tearing into everyone. It's like she's taking over, Lucy whispered. That's Urza for ya. Happy said, based on her attitude, this mortal must feel quite superior to the others and her power does put her above everyone else's, Black thought. However, as mortals say, actions speak louder than words. If she can do this with words, how well can she handle herself in a fight? Even if she is kinda bossy, she's still saner than anyone else here. I don't understand why everyone's so afraid of her, Lucy said. Are Natsu and Gray around? Urza asked. The wizards she was looking for were sweating bullets with their arms around each other with smiles on their faces. Oh hey Urza, we're just hanging out like good friends do, Gray said nervously. Aye, Natsu answered. Why's Natsu talking like Happy? Lucy asked. That's great. I'm quite pleased to see the two of getting along so well. However, it's only natural for even the best of friends to butt horns every now and then, Urza said. I don't know if we're the best of friends, Gray admitted. Aye, Natsu said in agreement. What's gotten into Natsu? Lucy questioned. He's scared of Urza. A few years ago he challenged her to a fight and she beat him up pretty badly. Mira explained. That was a stupid thing to do. Lucy said. After that, she saw Gray walking around naked and she decided to beat him up too, Macau said. And let's not forget she beat up Loke for trying to hit on her. He totally deserved it, Kana said. Can't say I blame her, Lucy said. Wow, even the great salamander's terrified of this Urza, Emily said. I'm really worried about what she'll think of us now, Gwen said. So she has beaten Salamander before, now I'm definitely intrigued. Black thought. Natsu, Gray, I need you both to do me a favor, Urza said, getting their attention. While traveling I overheard something that has me troubled. Normally I'd consult with the master before taking any action, but he's not here and this is a matter of utmost urgency. The two of you are the strongest wizards here, I could really use your help. Natsu and Gray looked at each other with surprised expressions. Many of the guildmates were surprised at Urza's request as well. We'll meet at the train station tomorrow morning. The two boys looked at each other intensely. Me and Natsu. Gray thought, on the same team? Natsu thought, Urza, Natsu, and Gray working together? I never saw that one coming, Mira said. This could be the most powerful team fairy tales ever seen. Let's see this Titania up close, Black said as he got to his feet and walked towards her. The sisters and Mira noticed the wicked grin on Kai's face and stepped in front of him. Black, you're not thinking what I think you're thinking, are you? Emily asked. That depends, what do you think, girl? Black asked back. Oni-chan, please don't challenge her, Gwen asked. And why shouldn't I? I told you that I require strong opponents to get my strength back, and as of right now, there is no stronger wizard than her. I must see that for myself. Black replied. Black, please listen to us. Urza is incredibly strong, almost superhuman. Mira warned. And when she's challenged, she doesn't go easy. Really, then this should be interesting, Black said as he phased around the girls and continued to approach the fairy queen. He stood right in front of the red-haired mage, catching her off guard. So you're the mighty Titania, the queen of these fairies, he said to her. Urza raised an eyebrow at the Kai. I am Urza Scarlet. Who are you? She asked. What's Black doing? Wakaba asked. Getting himself killed is what? Macau answered. At least he's got guts. I admire that, Kana said. Oh man, this guy's asking for it, Gray said. Aye, Natsu agreed. Black didn't answer her as he just placed 2 fingers under her chin. Yes, I can sense it, that immense power deep within you. I can't wait to test my current strength against it, he said slyly while his posture sent chills down Urza's spine. There's something else, another power you have yet to tap. Black then closed his eyes to get a read on Ezra's latent power. This other power is dormant, and it feels familiar. Like I've sensed it before. It also feels inhumane. Regaining her senses, Urza immediately backed away from the Kai. No one has ever come at me like that before. My guard was down before I even realized it. Urza thought. His presence, it's so dark, just like his. I'm sorry, did I startle you, Titania? Black mocked. I asked you a question. Tell me who you are now. Urza demanded with a glare. Oh, where are my manners? You may call me Black, and I am a god who wishes to regain the incredible level of power he once possessed, and to do that, I need to fight strong opponents. I've been told that you are the strongest female in this guild. I want to see what you can do. Black answered. You want to fight me? Urza asked. I assume you don't know what happens to guildmates who challenge me. Oh, I've heard, and rest assured I'm not one of your guildmates. So don't expect the same results to occur when you fight me, Black said. I'm afraid that I'm busy right now, nor do I intend to fight anyone till tomorrow, Urza said. So I'm afraid I'll have to say no. Goku Black chuckled and placed his hand on his head in disbelief. The ignorance of mortals, it always amuses me to see it every time. And what is that supposed to mean? Urza asked. That this isn't a request from a mortal. It's a demand from a god. Black said before he kicked her right in the gut, sending her reeling backward through the wall and outside the guild. Urza stopped herself and glared at the false Saiyan who came out to meet her. I figured you wouldn't fight me seriously if you were still inside your beloved guild hall, so I made sure not to let that be a problem for you. I am not going to fight you. Urza said. You seem to think you have a choice in the matter, but you do not, Black replied. The only choices you have are to either fight or die. The Supreme Kai then rushed at Urza again and started throwing punches at her. The guild members came out and watched as the Saiyan imposter took on their queen. What's happening here? Wakaba asked. Black's trying to pound Urza. Oh man, when she fights back. Macau said. But, why isn't she fighting back? Lackey asked. I don't know, she looks scared, Max said. Urza, scared? Ha! Real men don't get scared when they fight. Elfman said. Well, Urza's not a man, little brother, Mira said. But she does look a little scared. No way, Urza doesn't get scared. Gray said. Come on, Urza. Kick that guy's ass. Natsu yelled. Go Oni-chan. The sisters cheered. Why do they have to fight? Lucy asked. He just met her. Black continued to swing at Urza, who was swiftly evading his blows. Do you really think you can just dodge me forever? Black asked. Unless you fight back, this is only gonna get painful for you. Black then struck her in the gut again before grabbing her arm and slamming her into the ground. If you don't take this seriously, I will kill you. Black then held out his hand, channeled a ki blast and aimed it at her. What are you? Urza asked. I told you, I am a god. Black said as he fired the blast. It exploded, and when the smoke cleared, Urza was seen covering her face with her armored arms. She jumped back to her feet and backed away from the Kai. Do you understand now? If you wish to live, then fight like your life depends on it. Black widened his eyes, sending an invisible eye blast at the wizard in armor. Urza was blown backward a bit before the Saiyan imposter charged at her once more. He threw multiple punches at her again that she blocked. How long are you gonna play defense? Fight back, mortal. Show me the strength of the Fairy Queen. He demanded as he threw another punch. Urza dodged it and punched Black in the face. The Kai was caught off guard, allowing Urza to kick him in the gut and then elbow him in the face. Black skidded backward and stopped. He then looked at the armored wizard and smirked. Yes, that's more like it, Titania. Let me satisfy this hunger. Is fighting all that matters to you? Urza asked. What matters is getting back my lost strength, and I will chow down on every appetizer put before me until I finally can take on the main course once again. Black replied. The Kai charged at the red-haired mage. Urza charged at him as well, and they bumped fists. They started exchanging blows, with each fighter landing one hit after the other. Titania punched him in the gut, Black hit her in the face, and then she kicked him in the chin. Black then hit her with an energy blast that sent her reeling back again. Kai then glanced at this hand with uncertainty. I know my powers have diminished, but that attack should have had more power than that. Since my arrival to this world, my ki attacks aren't as strong as they normally would be. This is more than just a need for recovery, something's wrong with me, he thought. He was brought back into reality when Urza kicked him in the face. You allowed yourself to be distracted. If you won't focus, then I'll end this quickly, Urza declared as she was engulfed in light and changed into a white igarashi around the upper chest and a red hakama with a gold flame-like pattern at the bottom with black highlights, tied by white strings. She then materialized a katana in her right hand and charged at the Kai. She swung at him, making a slash across his GI. The Saiyan imposter looked down at his shirt and smirked. Yes, that's more like it, Titania, he snarled as he pulled out his keyblade. He slashed at her and she immediately blocked his strike. She then summoned another katana in her left hand and hit Black in the head with the hilt. The Kai reared his head back, allowing Urza to kick him again. To her surprise, Black just kept grinning as he shook off the blow and charged at her once more. Urza easily blocked his slashes with ease and used every opening to strike the false Saiyan with the butt of her blade, but it only seemed to goad him to attack even harder. What is this man? I must have struck every weak point on the body, and yet, it barely phases him, Urza thought. I have to end this now. She then threw one of her swords at Black. He deflected it, but then Urza jumped over him and slammed her sword hilt on the back of his neck. Black smirked again as he just powered up, which startled the Fairy Queen. This dark presence, she thought just before Black swung his keyblade at her. She tried to block it, but the slash snapped her sword in half, leaving her defenseless just as Black kicked her in the stomach and blew her onto her back with a ki. The Supreme Kai stood over Titania with his hand at her throat and his blade inches away from her face. It appears you've defeated me. I should kill you for attempting to deceive a god, Black said angrily. What do you mean by that? Urza asked, do you take me for a fool? Did you think I didn't notice that you were still holding back when we fought? Black asked. I observed how you fought me. You were attempting to incapacitate me by striking the weak points of the body. A fatal mistake, as this body does not have those weaknesses. Black then pulled his blade away from her face. You showed that you have power and skill, but your heart was not truly into it. Is whatever you plan to do with Salamander and the Ice Mage so relevant that it requires you to be at full capacity? Urza nodded. Yes, our mission tomorrow is of the utmost importance. We cannot afford to fail it, so we need our full strength for it. The Kai backed away from the Fairy Queen before saying, very well, our fight is postponed until further notice, and I will accompany you on your mission tomorrow. When the time is right, we will have our rematch and I won't stop for anything next time. How will we know when the right time is? Urza inquired. I'll know, but you won't. Black answered. Just be prepared to fight with everything you've got, or else the next time you see my blade will be seconds before it impales that big chest of yours. The Fairy Queen blushed a bit as she watched the Supreme Kai walk away. Everyone just watched silently as the Supreme Kai passed them back towards the guild hall. Why is a man like this at our guild? She wondered. As Black went back into the guild hall, Emily and Gwen came out to meet him. You weren't really gonna kill her, were you, Black? The older sister asked. Instead of answering her question, Black just walked past as he said, prepare yourselves for your first training session tomorrow. You'll both be coming with us. The sisters looked at each other and smiled before following their new teacher. Urza was still gazing at the false Saiyan with suspicion. I'll have to tell the master about him. I don't trust him in the slightest, she thought. At the Magic Council prison, numerous crystal prisms were floating around, each one carrying inside it a single prisoner. One of the cells held a tall and well-built man with dark-colored eyes, a curled beard, and light-colored spiky hair resembling feathers. His main attire consists of a fur-collared, light-colored overcoat draped over his shoulders, a long-sleeved, high-collared jacket, and a turtleneck underneath with a dark-colored design that resembles flames. The man sat with his head looking downward. A humanoid frog dressed in a robe came over to him on a levitating platform carrying a plate of food. Mealtime, Drake, the frog said as it placed the plate inside the cell. The prisoner moved that plate aside. No thanks, I'm not hungry, he replied. Oh, and why's that? The frog asked, just a little excited is all. The prisoner answered, and what could get you all excited? Today's the day, the prisoner said. Oh, you mean the day you prophesied about when the great Draken Joe makes his daring and takes his revenge on the Magic Council that disgraced him and his assassination guild? The frog inquired, to which the prisoner nodded. You're dreaming, Drake. You're not going anywhere for a long time. Maybe, maybe not, Draken replied. You're delusional. The frog said. You and your guild will pay for the crimes you've committed against the council. It's only a matter of time, Draken said. Seems like you still haven't gotten the message, so I'll just have to get it through to you. The frog said. He poked his staff through the cell, placing it inside and aiming it at the dark mage. The staff sparked and the prisoner was struck with purple electricity. Draken cried in agony before collapsing onto the ground. Do you get it now, Drake? You're stuck here for the rest of your miserable life. This is your new home, and you'd better forget about escaping because it's impossible for you. Then what are you so afraid of? Wondering if I'm right, aren't you? Draken said mockingly, earning him another shock. It doesn't matter what you believe, cause the truth is you're never leaving this prison. Not now. Not ever. The frog declared. Never say never, Draken muttered as an insect landed on his hand. There was a sudden explosion that forced a hole in the wall of the prison. Stepping through it were 5 mages. One of them was a large and extremely muscular machine man with short, light-colored cropped hair. He wore a dark-colored, sleeveless with a digitized skull on the back, a striped scarf wrapped around his neck, a pair of bands around his elbows, and metallic bracers. He also sports a pair of light-colored pants and black shoes. The second was an older woman with a slim, curvaceous figure, long brown hair, and dark eyes, wearing a leotard underneath her old light red holy knight armor with a helm that resembles a spider with 8 eyes, 8 legs, and a mouth, and her gauntlets have sharp fingertips and a piece that extends, resembling like a blade, and the third was a gray-haired male mage carrying a large scythe. They immediately attacked all those who were in charge of keeping the prisoners detained. The female mage swung her whip, striking down any mage in her path. The machine man increased the size of his right fist and slammed it onto the ground, causing quakes. The gray-haired mage raised his hand, creating a gust of winds that blew everyone aside and tossed most of the cells away from Draken's. The mage with the scythe walked over to Draken's cell and cracked it open with his weapon, allowing him to step out of his cell. Ah, finally. I can stretch my legs again. That little box was starting to get less cozy, Draken said. You guys sure took your time. We were following your orders, boss, the woman said teasingly. You said to lay low, remember, so the fact that you're here, does that mean you've acquired it? Asked Draken. Yes, sir. Our members have all been ordered to rendezvous with Kageyama tomorrow. There he will present the item to you and we will move on to the next phase. The man with the scythe said. Excellent, Draken said as he placed his hand on the scythe wielder's shoulder. You've done well leading our guild in my absence, Aragorn. And soon, our name will spread fear throughout all of Fury. And never, said a voice. The dark mages looked over and saw the frog guard Draken was conversing with on the ground, injured and trying to crawl. You'll never get away with this. The council will stop you, just like they did before. Draken looked over at the frog before moving over to his cracked cell. He pressed his fingers against it, and the matter from the cell coated Draken's arm in the same mineral which he shifted into a blade. He then grabbed the frog mage, held it up, and said, No one can stop us, especially not the Magic Council. And those who oppose us will suffer the consequences. He declared right before he impaled the creature, killing it instantly. He dropped the frog and faced his followers as blood dripped from his hand. Now, I believe we have a train to catch. The next day, Natsu, Gray, Lucy, Happy, Emily, Gwen, Neb, and Black were waiting at the train station for the leader of their mission to meet them. Most of the group was just sitting patiently while Natsu and Gray were each other's throats. I hate this. Teaming up with you is the worst idea ever. Salamander said to Gray. Yeah, tell me about it. Urza made a huge mistake asking a loser like you to come along. Gray said back. Fine. Why don't you just take care of it yourself? I don't want to go anyway. Natsu replied, Sounds like a plan to me, then I'll get to watch her beat you senseless. Gray said. Many people watched as the two wizards clashed their fiery and icy auras. Why do those guys have to fight? Aren't they friends? Gwen asked. That's just how they are. Happy said. I think it's cute. I love seeing men get all fired up, Emily said. These mortals and their senseless bickering will drive me insane. Black thought, let's just sit here and pretend we don't know them. Lucy muttered, Why'd you decide to come along, Lucy? Neb asked. Mira asked me too, Lucy replied. I was supposed to keep the peace, but these two are hopeless. So Black, what's our first lesson gonna be? What will you teach us first? Emily inquired. First we'll work on getting the two of you to control your magic at will, Black replied. After that, we'll see how far you can take it. Sorry I'm late, have you been waiting long? Urza asked called to them. Gray and Natsu immediately stopped arguing as she came towards them. No, not really, Lucy replied before she turned white at what she saw. The Fairy Queen was pulling a large cart with a mountain of suitcases strapped to it. All those belong to you? Wow! Look at that luggage. Happy said, what could she possibly be carrying and all that? Emily asked, it's time to go good buddy. Gray cheered. Aye. Natsu shouted with joy, wow, they're good actors. Gwen said, cowards is more like it. Black muttered. Good. I really love to see the two of you getting along, Urza said to the boys before addressing the others. I remember seeing the four of you at the guild yesterday. What are your names? My name's Lucy, I just joined Fairy Tail recently. Mira asked me to come along with you guys so that I could learn a thing or two. Lucy explained. I hope that's okay with you. The more the merrier. Wait, you're the girl I've heard about, Urza said before checking on Natsu and Gray, who were glaring at each other before they went back to being chummy. I was told you defeated a mercenary gorilla using only your pinky finger. It'll be great having a wizard like you on board, thanks for your help. Oh no, it's my pleasure, Lucy assured, a little freaked out by the rumor about her. She's capable of pulling something like that off? Could this blonde be a stronger mage than I thought? Black wondered, that sounds awesome, Lucy. I hope we get to do something like that. Emily said, and who might you be? Urza asked, I'm Emily Pendleton, the Galaxy Dragon Slayer. This is my sister Gwen and my partner Neb. Emily introduced her family. We just joined Fairy Tail yesterday. A dragon slayer, huh? You and your sister must be pretty strong, Urza said. So what brings you here? Black's going to train us. He told us our first session would be on this mission, Gwen explained. Black? Is that the name of the man who challenged me yesterday? Urza asked before she noticed the Kai sitting close to the group. Why is he with us? I want to see this dangerous mission that you believed was more worth your time than I was, Black replied. Who knows, maybe it'd be beneficial to me as well. I see. Well, welcome aboard. Urza said half-heartedly. Hey Urza. Natsu said, getting her attention. I'll come with you, but only under one condition. Shut up. Gray warned him. Oh, let's hear it, Urza said. Okay, I want a rematch when we get back to Fairy Tail. Natsu declared, surprising everyone. What's wrong with you? You got a death wish or something? Gray whispered, I'm a lot stronger than I was last time. This time it'll be different, 'cause I'm gonna beat you. Natsu said confidently. Quite a bold statement, Salamander, foolish but bold. Black thought. Oh my, such confidence, Emily said. Urza stayed quiet at first before saying, yes, I can tell you've improved. As to whether or not you'll beat me, I suppose we'll have to see. I accept your challenge. Oh yeah, I'm fired up. Natsu roared. However, as soon as they were on the train, the mighty Dragon Slayer immediately turned blue from motion sickness. Next to him, Happy, Gray, and Black, while the girls and Neb sat across from them. I swear you're totally pathetic, Natsu. 1 minute you're picking a fight and the next you're like this. Gray commented, I must agree with the ice stripper. How can such a strong mage suffer from this kind of weakness? Black inquired. It's gotta be tough on him going from place to place, Lucy said. Don't worry, he'll be fine. Come sit next to me, Urza said to Natsu. I guess she wants me to move. Lucy thought. Pretty soon the son of Igneal was sitting beside Titania, who was trying to ease his pain. Now just try to relax, she said, right before she socked him in the gut, knocking him out cold, surprising her travel companions. There, that should make the trip a little easier for him. She said as he rested on her lap. Okay, maybe she's not as sane as I thought she was. Lucy thought. Emily, why aren't you getting sick like Natsu? Urza asked. Yeah, I thought you were a dragon slayer too? Lucy added. Emily shrugged. I don't know, I can't really control my magic and I haven't used it that often. Maybe it just hasn't hit me yet. She replied, maybe female dragon slayers don't get it? Gwen said. Hey Urza, Gray said to the redhead. I think it's about time you started filling us in. I mean, what kind of mission are we going on here? Of course, I have reason to believe the Dark Guild Eisenwald is planning something big, Urza explained. I'm not sure what exactly, but it has to do with a magic item called Lullaby. Her information got the attention of Happy, Gray, and Lucy. Lullaby? Gray and Happy asked, You mean that thing from before? Lucy recalled. They then explained the group of wizards who abducted Happy that they beat right before they were abducted by someone else. So you've run into the Eisenwald Guild before? Urza asked. Well, I'm not positive if they were with Eisenwald, but they did mention Lullaby, Gray said. It sounds like they were members who dropped out of the guild and gone into hiding, Urza deduced. Perhaps they wanted no part in whatever was coming. So this thing is so bad it even scares dark wizards? Gray asked. I'm only hypothesizing, but whoever you saw dragging off Happy's kidnappers must have been from Eisenwald. It's obvious they didn't want their plans getting out. Urza said. Let me start from the beginning. Just the other day I was heading home after completing a job, and I stopped by a place I knew was a gathering spot for wizards. Urza said as she explained hearing a group of mages talking about Lullaby and how one of them would acquire it in 3 days. Lullaby? That's like a song you sing kids to sleep, Lucy said. Yes, and the fact that it's been sealed away means it must be very powerful magic, Urza said. You sure the guys you saw are with Eisenwald? Gray asked. Yes, I can't believe I was such a fool that day. I didn't recognize his name. Aragorn, the ace of Eisenwald. He only accepts assassination requests, which is why he's earned the name Aragorn the Reaper. Urza replied. He kills for money? Lucy and Gwen asked, a little scared. When the council outlawed assassination requests, Eisenwald decided money was more important than the council's rules. As a result, they were kicked out of their wizard league 6 years ago, but that didn't stop them. They've disobeyed orders and remained active to this day. Urza said. Okay, I should be heading back home now, Lucy said, trembling. Lucy's slimy all of a sudden, Happy said. It's sweat. Lucy stated, how could I have been so careless? If only I had recognized Aragorn's name, I could have pulverized them. I could have forced them to reveal their scheme to me. Urza said while angrily slamming her fist onto Natsu's head. She's so scary. Lucy said, so Eisenwald's planning to do something with this Lullaby and you want to stop him, because after what you overheard you're sure it's gonna be something bad, Gray said. That's correct, and I'm not foolish enough to believe that I can take on an entire Dark Guild alone. That's why I asked for your help. We're storming the Eisenwald Guild. Urza replied. Sounds like fun to me, Gray said. Aye. Happy agreed. I shouldn't have come along. Lucy said, why would a Dark Guild require a child's song? What makes it so powerful? Black thought. Hey Black, Gwen said, getting the Kai's attention. Maybe we shouldn't have come on this mission either. Gwen's right. We're inexperienced wizards up against an even stronger Dark Guild than Blue Skull, Emily said. How exactly are you planning on training us during this? Simple, taking down this guild on your own will be your training, Black replied. If you wish to survive and save all that you care about, you'll have to learn how to use your powers at will. How are we supposed to do that? Emily asked. Figure it out, Black replied. Come on, Oni-chan, can't you train us a better way? Gwen asked but got no answer. The group eventually started eating lunch. If you don't mind me asking, what kind of magic do you use, Urza? Lucy inquired. That's a good question, Urza said. Ezra's magic is really pretty. She makes her enemies bleed. A lot. Happy said, I don't know if I'd call that pretty. Lucy said, personally I think Gray's magic is much more beautiful than mine, Urza stated. Oh, you mean this? Gray placed his right fist in his left palm. A magic seal appeared before steam and then an icicle shaped like the fairy tale symbol came out of his hand, impressing those who had never seen it before. I use ice magic. Cool. Emily said, oh, now I get why you and Natsu don't get along. He's fire and you're ice. Talk about not mixing very well, Lucy stated. I never thought of it like that, Urza said. I just hate his guts, Gray said. I hope you can do more than just make teeny ice sculptures, Black said. Oh, I can do so much more, Gray assured. Urza then looked across at Black. She still didn't trust him, but she was gonna have to break the ice sooner or later. So Black, what magic do you use? Urza asked with suspicion. As if I'd ever resort to parlor tricks, Black said. I use ki or energy drawn from my life force, but as a god, I also use divine ki. I see, Urza said. And what about you, Gwen? I use takeover magic, Angel Soul, Gwen answered. Really? Now that's interesting, Urza said. I'm not sure if I'll actually be any help on this job. My magic isn't all that powerful, Gwen admitted. That's only because you doubt yourself, Black said. But I can assure you that your magic is stronger than you realize. You think so, Oni-chan? Gwen said. I know the powers of both a dragon and an angel at their fullest, Black replied. If your magic is anything like that, then you and your sister have the potential to become the strongest pair of wizards in existence. You're just held back by your insecurities, and if you want me to train you well, you can't let anything weigh you down. Ah, thanks, Oni-chan. You're so sweet. Emily said. I am not. I just don't have the patience for slow learners, nor do I wish to hold your hands on this mission. Black said. All right, tough guy, Emily said playfully. The others smiled while Urza still kept her serious look. So Black, I hear that Natsu challenged you to a fight after you joined the guild, Urza said. You're half right, Titania, Black replied. I never joined your guild, but I was challenged to a fight by the salamander. He was a strong opponent, but I have defeated him stronger, so he was no problem for me in the end. So you beat him, huh? You must be very strong then, Urza said. Black gave her a menacing smirk as he replied, stronger than you can ever imagine, Fairy Queen. Urza shivered once again at his gaze. There's that uneasiness I feel from him. Why does he make me feel like this? Why does he remind me of him? She thought before going back to eating. Pretty soon the group made it to Oniba Station and got off the train. You think the Eisenwald guys are still gonna be in this town? Gray asked. I have no idea. That's what we're here to find out, Urza replied. I'm still thinking I should go home, Lucy said. Aren't you mortals forgetting something or someone? Black asked. Hold on, where's Natsu? Happy asked. The group then realized the fire mage was still aboard the train just as it left the station. Oh, there he goes. I was so busy talking I forgot about him. I'm such a fool. Natsu hates all forms of transportation. This is all my fault. I need you to hit me for my penance. Urza said. That's a little much, Lucy said. Black, why don't you go and get him? Gwen asked. Yeah, fly after the train. Neb agreed. And why would I do that? Black asked. Please, Oni-chan, we'd really appreciate it. Emily pleaded. The Kai just rolled his eyes but said, fine, only because he's supposed to be on this mission too. Black then revved up his aura and flew after the train. On board, Natsu had just woken up and was still suffering from his nausea. He didn't notice that a black-haired man with a ponytail wearing a white coat and pants was coming his way. Well, looky here, it's a fairy tale wizard. The man said before speaking to Natsu. How's the guild treating ya these days? Is it worth sticking around? What? Natsu asked. He was suddenly met with a foot right in his face. Don't act all high and might just because you're in a legal guild, Mr. Fairy, the man said. You guys just blindly follow the Magic Council. You know what you look like to us? Harmless little flies. Natsu glared at the mage as he got up and ignited his fists. Guess I hit a nerve. Before Salamander could attack, his motion sickness kicked in again and his fire went out. What kind of magic is that? The man laughed. Let me show you how it's done. A dark circle appeared under his feet and his shadow jumped out and socked the Dragon Slayer, knocking him on his back. It's all in the follow-through. That magic. Natsu groaned as his enemy smirked. The train suddenly stopped, making both of them stumble a bit. A small flute bearing a skull with 3 eyes fell from the dark mage. The train stopped, Natsu said before he noticed the flute. What's that? You saw it, the dark mage said. That's enough out of you. Natsu said as he bashed his fists together. It's payback time. Fire Dragon Iron Fist. He jumped at the enemy with his fire fist. Guard Shadow. The mage summoned a cluster of shadows to block the attack. The collision caused an explosion that broke a hole in their train cart. When the smoke cleared, the mage was on the ground, a bit bruised. Lucy shot, he groaned. Little fly, huh? Natsu said smugly. Salamander, what the heck are you doing? Black asked as he appeared in the window. Hold on, Black. I gotta take care of some personal business. Who's that? How'd he catch the train? The mage asked. Attention all passengers, our emergency was a false alarm. We will be departing again shortly. The announcer said. Oh crap. Natsu said, time to go salamander. Black said, right. Natsu agreed as he went to get his travel pack. Hold it right. I'm not letting you get away that easily. You're messing with the Eisenwald Guild. The mage warned, oh, so you're with Eisenwald, huh? I'll show you what happens to people who knock Fairy Tail. Natsu said. How about we take this outside? The train shifted as it began to move again, making the Dragon Slayer sick again. As it did, Black noticed the flute on the floor. Now what do we have here? He asked as he grabbed the son of Igniel's vest. As the train kept going, Urza and the other were following close behind it on a magic mobile. Why are you riding on the top? Emily asked Gray. No reason. Gray answered, Natsu. Lucy yelled. The fire dragon was thrown out of the cart by the Supreme Kai. He flew through the air and crashed headfirst into Gray Fullbuster, knocking them both onto the ground where Black and their friends came to meet them. Natsu, are you alright? Urza asked. Aye, Natsu groaned. That hurt you, idiot. Gray yelled. Shut up, you icy freak. How come you guys left me on the train? Natsu asked angrily. We're really sorry about that. Gwen said. I'm just thankful to see that you weren't badly injured, Natsu. I apologize, Urza said before pulling the fire dragon slayer into an embrace against her armored chest. It's okay, Natsu said. Well, I'm shaken up pretty bad. I got attacked by some weirdo on the train. Are you serious? Lucy asked. I think it was the dude who dragged the guys that were gonna eat Happy. Said he was with Eisenwald, you fool. Urza yelled as she slapped him, surprising her comrades. That is exactly who we're chasing after on this mission. Why did you let him get away? What the? This is the first I heard about it, Natsu replied. I explained everything on the train. You should listen when people talk to you. Urza scolded him. She already forgot that she knocked him out, didn't she? This woman is unbelievable. Lucy said. Yep, Grace said. That's Urza for ya. Happy said. Mortals will always display amazing stupidity. Black muttered. I'm starting to think that maybe we shouldn't have joined this guild, Gwen said. Are you kidding? This guild is so much fun, we should have joined years ago. Emily said. Aye. Neb agreed. Black, why didn't you do something to stop him? Urza questioned. You knew our target was Eisenwald, and why would I get involved? This is your mission, Titania. Don't expect a god to do your job for you, mortal. Black replied. Urza glared at him before going over to strap herself back to the magic mobile. So he was on the same train that we were on. Let's find him. She said. So what was this guy like? Gray asked. He didn't look like somebody from a dark guild, but he did have this strange flute thing. It looked like a skull except it had 3 eyes, Natsu explained. A 3-eyed skull? Lucy asked. That's creepy, Gray said. Is there something wrong, Lucy? Happy asked. It's just that. I've heard about that flute before, Lullaby, the cursed song. Lucy replied seriously. It's death magic. What? Asked a stunned Urza. A cursed song? Like an incantation? Gray asked. I've only ever read about them in books, but there are some deadly spells out there that are forbidden to be used by wizards, Lucy answered. That's right. There are some cursed black magic spells that will kill the person they're used upon, Urza stated. Well, if I'm right, Lullaby is even worse. Lucy said. In Era, a young woman with long blonde hair and dark green eyes was gearing up for a mission. As she did that, a magic circle projected an image of an elderly man with a gray beard wearing a long robe with a small black bird on his head was talking to her. Eisenwald has started to make their move. They've already broken their guildmaster Draken and have made their way to Kunugi Station. The man said. Then that's where I'll start looking, the woman said as she put on her custom-made Rune Knight combat uniform. Be cautious out there, Lieutenant Moores. This group was once an assassination guild. They are very dangerous and very good at what they do, and unlike most people, they seem to have the stomach for it. The old man warned. Understood, Master Org, she replied. Do we have any idea as to what they're planning? Not yet. Let's hope they haven't started, which will give us time to apprehend them before they succeed. Org said. I don't like the idea of you going on this mission solo, even if we're stretched too thin at the moment. You'll need backup. I'll take a battalion of Rune Knights with me, Julia said. Actually, I already have someone in mind for you to take on this mission, Org replied. Lieutenant Julia sighed as she knew who her superior was referring to. Not her. Why do you always have to stick us together? She asked. She is an effective fighter and an excellent wizard, Org said. Plus, the two of you are a powerful pair. I assure you, Master, I can handle this assignment on my own, Julia argued. This is an assassination guild. They're expert killers. One mage may not be enough to detain them, even one as powerful as you, Org said. But the two of you might just stand a chance against them. Julia reluctantly nodded and said, Very well, Master Org. I shall have Rihanna Slate accompany me on my mission. Org nodded before his projection disappeared. Julia sighed deeply before leaving the room. She soon ran into a young woman of average height. She had black hair in a bowl cut, and wore a fully armored top breastplate, picnic table yellow and blue designed cloth that has an open slit at the bottom, and elbow guards that exposed part of her arm from the part that disconnects from her armor. Chillwalker. Rihanna was leaning against the wall when she spotted Julia. Hey Jules, you hear what's been happening? Looks like we've got another job together. Thrilling, Julia said sarcastically. Ah, come on Jules, we work great together. Rihanna said, Maybe so, but our styles just don't mix, Julia reasoned. You're nonchalant and impulsive, while I'm cautious and disciplined. Chill out Jules, we've faced worse missions before. We can handle a bunch of rogue wizards, Rihanna assured. For once I hope you're right, 'cause this mission feels like it could be even more dangerous than anticipated, Julia stated. Now let's round up the troops and get going. Aye, Lieutenant Nova. Rihanna playfully saluted her before they both left. At Kunugi Station, passengers were screaming in terror as the Eisenwald Guild slaughtered the conductors. This train belongs to Eisenwald now, a gray-haired mage carrying a large scythe declared before giving orders to his guildmates. Get everything out. Luggage, the conductor, all of it. If anyone tries to defy us, kill them all. As the Dark Guild continued to pillage the train, the Dark Mage who attacked Natsu Dragneel came off the train. Well, look who's here, he said. Kageyama, we heard you were coming back aboard this train, the scythe wielder said. There's quite a bit of wreckage. Care to explain what happened? Yes, please enlighten us on what occurred on your little trip here, a voice said. The Dark Mage looked over to see the master of their Dark Guild stepping out from among the crowd along with his liberators and two additional mages. The first mage was a Baku, a muscular anthropomorphic lion with large tusks and wearing an oriental outfit with a small hat on his head. He also carries a large battle axe on his back. The other was a young woman of average height with a curvaceous frame and long, dark-colored hair, which she wears in a hairband, reaching to her waist. Her attire consists of a dark skin-tight sleeveless suit where her guild mark is on her left bicep. Master Draken! I didn't expect to see you here. Kageyama said. I thought you were still in prison. I was, till Aragorn and the others broke me out. That place was a hellhole, and the council will pay for throwing me in there. Draken said sternly. Now, tell me what happened. All right, sir. Well, I was just coming back from my mission. I managed to complete it. I have it, and I've broken the seal, Kageyama said as he presented the flute to his superiors. Excellent, Aragorn said. You have not said what happened on that train, Draken said. Don't test my patience. Yes, sir. I saw a wizard from a legal guild, Fairy Tale actually. I wanted to rough him up a bit, but he was stronger than I thought. Kageyama explained. He managed to get a glimpse of the flute before he left to join his friends. I'm sorry, sir. I made an error. The Shadow Mage was cut off when Aragorn tried to slash him with his scythe. Let me get this straight. You allowed a Fairy Tale fly to see the lullaby flute and then let him get away? The Reaper asked. Well, yes, but it's not like he knows anything about our plans. The Shadow Mage replied. Even if he did, there's no way he and his stupid guild would be able to stop us, right? Kageyama's question was answered with another close strike from the scythe wielder. Enough, Aragorn! Draken ordered. The Reaper stopped his assault and stepped back. Master Draken, please. Kageyama pleaded. Draken touched the side of the train, coating his right arm in its metal. He then grabbed Kageyama by the collar and lifted him up. Listen here, Kageyama. We are on the path to restoration. Soon we will have our revenge and spread darkness throughout all of Fury. Draken declared. After years of rotting in that cell, our dream for change will finally flourish, and I refuse to let anything or anyone stand in my way. Draken's eyes glowed red as he glared at the Shadow Mage. Because you succeeded in retrieving the lullaby and breaking its seal, I'll forgive your little mistake. However, Know that you are not invaluable nor irreplaceable to me. Slip up again and you will be the first to learn what this flute can do. It'll be your last experience. He then dropped Kageyama on the ground before holding out his hand to the mage. The flute, now. Yes, sir. Kageyama obeyed as he handed the item to his master. Draken received the flute and held it delicately. Aragorn, here, he said as he passed it over to his second-in-command. But master, you should have the pleasure of using the flute to complete our goal, the Reaper said. Draken shook his head. No, it should be you. You were our guild's best assassin. If we are to reclaim our lost glory, then you're the one who should deliver the message to those stiff necks on the council and to those who blindly follow them. He said as he gestured to the item and smirked. Besides, who better to play the song of death than the Reaper? Aragorn accepted the flute and nodded to his master. Thank you for this honor, master. I will not fail you or the guild, he assured. I know you won't, Draken said. So, that's the lullaby? Asked the dark-haired female mage. Yes, Maria, the forbidden lullaby. Draken explained. Originally, it was a tool for casting simple death curses, useful but limited. That is until the great black wizard Zareth transformed into a demon flute. Now, its song can kill hundreds, thousands even, lulling them all into an endless slumber, and its power is now ours to wield and use however we see fit. Just then a tiny fly flew onto the brown-haired mage's hand. Boss, the council's already made their move. They've sent 2 of their best rune knights to track us down. If they're following our movements from the prison, they won't be far behind, she reported. Thank you for the update, Frisia, Draken said. I knew the council would be hasty to catch us, but they're moving faster than anticipated. Plus those guild mages might have caught wind of what we're up to thanks Kageyama. If things continue to escalate, the odds might shift from our favor, and I'm not a fan of taking chances. What are your orders, Master Draken? The machine man inquired. Ah, Reyes, always ready to do my bidding at a moment's notice, Draken said. Here are my orders. Reyes, Maria, Frisia, and Baku will stake out this station. If anyone comes looking for us, eliminate them. Yes, sir. The 2 women and the Machias complied. What about the plan, Master? The anthropomorphic lion inquired. The rest of us will head over to Oshibana Station and proceed with the plan. Draken replied. And so it begins. Our time to rise is near. Let's move forward, men. The fairies were speeding through on the rough terrain in their magic mobile with Black standing on top with his arms crossed. Hey, slow down, Urza. You're using up too much power driving this thing. Gray yelled. I have no choice but to press onward. We're running out of time. If Aragorn gets his hands on this death magic, trust me, lives will be lost. Urza argued as she thought. Curse them, what is it they hope to accomplish? This is madness. She must have a ton of magic power to make it go this fast, Gwen stated. Of course she does. She's Fairy Tale's Queen Titania. Emily replied. That's Urza for ya. The cats said. I think you're starting to fit in M's, Gray said. It's no surprise that Ezra's impressive. What I know is how the heck can Black just stand on top of the mobile like that? Lucy questioned. The mages and cats minus Natsu looked out the window at the Supreme Kai, who was as still as a statue with arms crossed and his eyes closed. Look at him, it's like he doesn't even feel the movement of the vehicle. How's he doing that so easily? You tell us, you guys met him before he met us, Emily answered. He didn't join our guild and he doesn't seem to want to be around people, so there's not much anyone knows about him, Lucy explained. Maybe it's one of his god powers? Gwen suggested. About that, do you guys really buy this god act he's putting on? Gray asked. Well, he says he's a god and he can do things we can't, like fly, Gwen stated. Both Happy and Neb can fly, and I've seen other wizards in our guild do it, Gray argued. That's with wings, Gray. Black's able to fly on his own, Happy said. Besides, he's not an actual god, just a god slayer. You mean like how Natsu and I are dragon slayers? Emily, to which the cat nodded. Then why does keep referring to himself as a god? Who knows? Maybe since he's killed a god, he believes he has to take up that mantle now, Lucy answered. Still, it's rather annoying to hear him constantly say that he's a god and that he's above us mortals. You got that right, Lucy, Gray agreed. But what if he really is a god? Gwen asked. You'd be insulting a deity. Gwen, please, No one who looks just as human as we do has no right calling themselves a god, especially someone who barely beat a weakling like Natsu in a fight. Shut up, Gray. Natsu groaned. I'm just saying if this idiot can give him a good beating, imagine what I would have given him if we fought, Gray said. I don't know, guys. Black doesn't seem like any normal human I've ever met, Emily stated. He's definitely too scary to be human, Neb added. Come on, the only thing abnormal and scary about this guy is his hair. Seriously, who carries a style like that everywhere? What was he going for, palm tree? Gray asked. You mortals do know I can hear every word you're saying, right? Black inquired without opening his eyes. So I advised you not to say anything that might anger a god. It could mean the end of your pathetic lives before you know it. Zamasu started releasing a little of his divine ki, which made all of the wizards quiver a bit. Oh look, Black, we're at the station already. Emily quickly changed the subject. What's going on down there? Gwen questioned. The group saw a bunch of rune knights securing the area. People were complaining to the officers about the attack from the Eisenwald Guild, while a few other knights were investigating the wrecked train left behind. Eisenwald must have met with their friend who attacked Natsu here for the flute. Looks like they also took the head of the train and left in a hurry. Emily agreed with her sister. I could understand cars or boats, but would they want to hijack a train? Lucy questioned. It doesn't seem like a very good choice for getaways since it can only follow the tracks it's on, Happy said. Yes, that's true, but they are quite fast, Urza stated. Then I guess it's up to us to figure out where those Eisenwald guys are going in such a big hurry and why, Gray said. You're naked, Gray, Lucy told him. Am I? He asked as he looked at himself to see that she was right. You mean you didn't notice? Emily asked. At the wrecked train, Rihanna was leaning against the train waiting for her partner to emerge from inspecting the inside. Julia eventually came out and faced her partner. What you got, Jules? Rihanna asked. I picked up multiple scents from one of the train cars. One of them is very faint, but the remaining seem to be close, Julia replied. How close? Rihanna inquired. That close, Julia said as she pointed over to the mages in the magic mobile. All of their scents from the cart that was destroyed. Do you think they're with Eisenwald? Rihanna asked. Possibly. We know that Dark Guild was on the train, and they did attack the station to gain control, Julia stated. Perhaps Eisenwald left behind some scouts to see how close were their trail, and now they're going to regroup with their superiors. We proceed with caution and tail them from the sky. We could do that, or we could interrogate them and force them to take us to their boss, Rihanna suggested. Negative, Chillwalker. If we alert the enemy that we're on their trail, it could jeopardize the mission if they attempt to throw us off, Julia said. If they try that, we'll just have to deal with them. Besides, making them take directly to their comrades is much more fun than having to follow them, Rihanna said before she suddenly disappeared from her partner's sight. Julia sighed to herself before quickly following her partner. Urza revved the engine of the mobile, but before she could resume their journey, two mages appeared and stood in their path. The others inside the mobile looked outside. Hey Red, what's the holdup? Aren't we in a hurry? Emily asked. We've got company. Two mages are blocking our way, Urza replied. The other fairies minus Natsu stepped out to see the councilwoman duo standing before them. Who are you? Why have you intercepted our path? She asked them. The black-haired mage took a few sniffs before glaring at the fairies. Yeah, their scents match the ones on the train, she said. Then they must be in leagues with the Dark Guild, Julia said before addressing the fairies. All of you, exit the vehicle immediately. All the fairies stepped out of the magic mobile with Lucy carrying a nauseated Natsu. Who are these guys? They look kinda familiar. I know I've seen them before, Lucy said. They've got the Rune Knight's clothes on. Are they with the Magic Council? Gwen questioned. If so, what do they want with us? Emily asked. Who knows? It probably can't be anything good. We're not exactly on the council's good side. Gray stated. No kidding, Happy said. Who are you? Why have you blocked our path? Urza asked. Please, we are in a hurry. Let us pass, we don't have time. We will not permit you to go any further. You are all to come in for questioning, Julia said. If you refuse to come quietly, then we will resort to lethal force to detain all of you. Urza, we don't have time to talk our way through these ladies. Let's just go through them and continue the mission, Gray suggested. If I use my magic, it should create an opening and give us enough time to escape. Rihanna and Julia's ears twitched as they heard the words of the Ice Mage. Doesn't seem like they're back down, Rihanna whispered. Then prepare to attack. Julia said to her partner. The two councilwomen took their stances as they stared intensely at the fairies. Looks like they're not going to wait for us to attack first. Emily pointed out. Everyone get behind Gray. Urza ordered as the Ice Mage took his stance. The councilwoman wasted no time before charging straight toward the fairy tale wizards. They were suddenly stopped in their tracks as their bodies were engulfed in a dark black aura. The fairies and the councilwoman looked on top of the magic mobile to see Black Goku holding out his hands while channeling Black Divine Ki into— What is this? Why can't we move? Julia inquired. What have you done to them? Urza questioned the Kai, a paralysis technique called the God Bind, Black explained. They can't move as long as I don't want them to. Wow, Lucy said, still doubt that he's a god, Gray? Emily asked the Ice Mage, still not convinced yet. Gray replied, You there, the one with the weird hair do. Release us from your hold immediately. Julia demanded. Silence, mortal. You do not give the orders here, especially while you and your comrade are under the control of a god. The Kai warned. Now, why don't you help yourselves and tell us who you are and why you've gotten in our way? We don't have to tell you anything spiky. Rihanna replied, If you do not wish to talk, that's fine, Black said. Even if you won't speak with your mouths, your minds will tell me everything. Everyone seemed confused as they watched the deity just stare intensely at the two councilwomen. After a few moments of silence, Black finally said, I see, the two are top rune knights of the Magic Council sent to apprehend the members of the Eisenwald Guild. All of the mages stared at the false Saiyan with wide eyes. What? How'd you know? I wouldn't be much of a god if I couldn't read your minds, Black replied. But your investigation has led you to the wrong group of wizards. These are the members of the Fairy Tale Guild. Wait, you guys are members of Fairy Tale? Rihanna asked. I assume you've heard about the legendary Salamander and the mighty Titania? Black inquired. Yes, we know of them. Are they here? Show us your guild marks. Julia said. Everyone aside from Zamasu complied and proudly revealed their mark. Where's yours, stranger? She questioned the Kai. I am not a part of their miserable guild. I only accompany them on their mission, Black answered. Very well, we believe your words and will refrain from attacking, Julia declared. However, since you are not with Eisenwald, we would like to know what you're doing here and why you were on the train with that dark guild. I can answer that, Urza said as Black released his binding technique. At my last mission, I heard of Eisenwald's plans for revenge and decided to take action against them. I recruited a few of my guildmates for their assistance and we boarded the train in order to track down those dark wizards. We accidentally left one of our comrades on board and he was attacked by one of Eisenwald's members who we didn't know was on the train as well. Natsu saw the item he possessed, a small flute with a skull bearing 3 eyes. We believe it to be the lullaby flute that can cast death magic, killing anyone who hears its deadly song, and that Eisenwald plans to use this object, but we don't know for what exactly. Since then we've been chasing after them, which led us here. I see, so you are attempting to stop Eisenwald too, Julia said. Although as a rune knight, I would never allow civilians to participate in a confrontation with a dark guild, especially guild mages. However, you seem to know more about what the enemy might be planning than we do, so it seems apparent that we must work together if we want to stop Eisenwald. It goes against my pride as an officer of the Magic Council. I must ask for your assistance. Of course, it would be an honor to cooperate with you on this mission, Urza replied. Yeah, besides we need to get back at those creeps for missing our friend. Gray said with a smirk and the others nodded in agreement. Thank you, we appreciate the assistance, Julia said humbly. All right. Rihanna cheered. Miss Titania, let me just say that it is a real privilege to be working alongside you. I've heard rumors of your skills, and I would love to see them with my own eyes. Thank you, Urza replied. Though, I'd prefer if you called me Urza. Sure thing, Titania, Rihanna said, making Urza frown. She then glanced at Natsu, who was still looking green, and said, So this is the infamous salamander? I expected him to appear a little more fearsome than this. Julia turned her attention to the fire dragon and raised a curious eyebrow at him. Motion sickness, and from the rumors he wields strong fire magic as well. Could he be? She thought. Hey guys, Getting to know each other is nice and all, but we'd better get a move on if we want to catch up to Eisenwald, Emily said. You are correct, miss. Julia said before pausing. Emily Pendleton. This is my sister Gwen and my partner Neb. The Galactic Dragon introduced. A pleasure, I'm Julia Moores, and my comrade is called Rihanna Slate. The Rune Knight replied. Urza Scarlet, Grey Fullbuster, and Natsu Dragneel. Happy, Lucy, nice to meet all of you, Rihanna said before speaking to the Supreme Kai. And what do they call you, Spiky? Black, the Saiyan imposter replied. Now, don't you mortals have a mission to get back to, right? Everyone let's move. Julia ordered. Just as they were about to head out, Black, Julia, and Rihanna's turned serious. Something's not right. Is there a problem? Urza asked. We're not alone, Rihanna replied. There's at least 3 other power levels watching us. Come out. Show yourselves. Julia demanded. Well, we were planning to ambush you, but I guess that'll have to do, said a voice. Suddenly, the 4 scouts Master Draken dispatched stepped out from the shadows. Julia Moore's attention seemed to be focused on the brown-haired woman in armor who replied to her earlier demand. It can't be, she stuttered in disbelief. Lady Frisia? And that's a wrap. People, thanks for tuning into the second part of What If Goku Black Was in Fairy Tail. A huge thanks to Antihero62 for this great story. Be sure to support them, your support is the world, so don't forget to smash that like button. Share the video with your friends and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's hit that 100 like goal for the next chapters.